Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson, and today I'm going to go over the review for your test in Chapter 5, Review 2A. So, if you need to at any time, you can pause if I'm going too fast, and if you want to look at the steps and how I'm doing the problems. Excuse me. So, in question number 1, it says use the distributive property to write 2 times negative 5 plus 3 as an equivalent expression. And then what is the value of the expression? So you look at the choices you have here, and one of them shows the correct distribution and gives you the correct value. So the distribution would be 2 times negative 5 plus 2 times 3. That is 2 times negative 5 plus 2 times 3. Now let's double check to see that the answer is negative 5. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Plus 6 is negative 4. Choice C is the correct answer. Now let's look at number 2. We are adding linear expressions. So the first thing you're going to do is get rid of subtraction signs. This one doesn't have any subtraction, and since it's all addition, we can move things around. Now in the class, what we were doing earlier is I just would identify by circles and boxes, and we would combine like terms that way. So let's go ahead. Negative x, that's the same thing as negative 1x, and 3x are like terms. Negative 1x plus 3x gives you the term 2x. Our constants are 4 and 2. They are like terms. 4 plus 2 is 6. 2x plus 6. In number 3, we are subtracting. So once again, we have subtraction signs. Add the opposite and add the opposite. Now when we do this, that's taking a negative 1 in front of our parentheses. So we have to use the distributive property. Negative 1 times 4x is negative 4x plus negative 1 times 3, a negative 3. So now you have negative x, which I'm going to write as negative 1x, plus a negative 2, plus negative 4x, plus negative 3. So let's combine our like terms. Negative 1x plus negative 4x, negative 5x. And we can combine our constant of negative 2 plus negative 3, negative 5. Now another way you could write that, or if it's a multiple choice, you might see it written as negative 5x minus 5. Both of these say the same thing. Now let's go on with problem number 4. Here we need to find the value. 9 plus 6 is 15. Negative 4 times negative 15 will give you the answer negative 60. Answer choice I. In number 5, we have to use our order of operations. 5 minus 3 is 2. Then you're going to multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. Now you end up with 9 plus 4 minus 6. 9 plus 4 is 13, and 13 minus 6 will give you the answer 7, B. And on the test, it's helpful if you always put your answers on the answer blanks provided. Let's look at number 6. We are simplifying this expression. Here you have 4x plus 8 plus 2x minus 7. Remove the subtraction sign, add the opposite. Now let's combine our like terms. 4x plus 2x is 6x. And 8 plus negative 7 are constants. Remember, constants are the ones without a variable. 8 plus negative 7 is 1. 6x plus 1, answer choice H. In number 7, it says to replace A with a 4, so that's 5 times 4, and b with a 3, 7 times 3. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 7 times 3, 21. 20 plus 21, 41. Answer choice A. Now let's go to the back of this worksheet. In number 8, what are the next 3 terms in the sequence? Well, as you look at this sequence, they increase by 11. And the correct answer choice will be I. In number 9, you look at the sequence, and they are increasing by 1 5/10. The next 3 numbers, if you increase it by 1 5/10, will be C. In number 10, what is the value of 6 times D minus 2C if D equals 3 and C equals 4? So you're going to have 6 times 3 minus 2 times 4. All right, so 6 times 3 is 18. 2 times 4 is 8. 18 minus 8 equals 10. Answer choice F. In number 11, evaluate. So on this one, since there are blanks, you want to show your work. If there are blanks on the test, at least show some work. You don't have to fill both lines, but you need to show some work so you can get full credit. So 9 times R is 6. 9 times 6 divided by 3. So this will equal 54 divided by 3, the answer choice 18. Well, it's not a multiple choice, but you would write the answer 18. Now we have to identify properties. It says name the property of multiplication shown. 3x8. 3x8. It's not going to be the commutative property because they are still all in the same spot. Here the parentheses move. That would be the associative property of multiplication. Now, before we go on, I want to go over some of the properties with you. So the commutative property states A plus B equals B plus A. The numbers or the variables move around. An example with numbers, 5 plus 7 is the same thing as 7 plus 5. Now, for multiplication, you would have A times B equals B times A. In numbers, 2 times 4 will give you the same thing as 4 times 2. That's the commutative property. Now, we have already stated that this is the associative property. The associative property states what happens here is the parentheses will be moving, and it's true if they are all addition or all multiplication signs in between your terms. So if you had A plus B plus C, notice how the terms are still in the same order, and the parentheses were around A plus B, but then in this one, it would move around B plus C. That's an example of the associative property. Here is an example of the associative property for multiplication. Then we have another property, and that's the distributive property. The distributive property looks like this, and you should be very familiar with the distributive property. The distributive property states 4 times x plus y, it would equal 4 times x plus 4 times y. You could have, it doesn't have to be variables, Let's say you have 3 times 2 plus x. An example of the distributive property would be 3 times 2 plus 3 times x. So it would be 6 plus 3x. So those are different examples of the properties. I'm going to show a few more down here. Let's just go over the additive identity property. Has the 0 in it. 4 plus 0 equals 4, or A plus 0 equals A. The additive identity property for multiplication, this is for, it's the multiplicative property, excuse me. The multiplicative identity property, or the identity property of multiplication, you will have the element of a 1. 5 times 1 equals 5, or A times 1 equals A. Anything times 1 keeps its identity. And then we have the 0 property, and the 0 property is true when you multiply by 0. Anything times 0 equals 0. So 3 times 0 equals 0. Or we can use a variable. X times 0 equals 0. Make sure you know all of the properties before the test on Tuesday. Now let's look at number 13. The area of a rectangular pool is 15x minus 9 square units. Factor 15x minus 9 to find possible dimensions of the pool. All they want here is the factoring answer. So you look. What will divide a 15 and a 9? What common factor? 3. You will have 3 times, what is 15x? 3 times 5x is 15x. And 3 times what is minus 9? 3 times 3 minus 3 will give you that. Or you could have 3 times 5x plus negative 3. That would be, either one of those would be a correct answer for number 13. And I'm putting the answer on the blank. Now let's look at number 14. Two friends bought a $14 pizza. Each person bought their own drink. The total cost of the food can be represented by the expression 2x plus 14. What expression represents the cost of food for one person? Again, we're going to factor it out. What's the common factor here? 2. So 2 times x plus 7. So what would it be for one person? X plus 7. In number 15, the greatest common factor of 4x and 8xc. Well, what will divide a 4 and an 8? 4 will. 4 will divide 4, 4 will divide 8, and they both have an x. So your greatest common factor here will be 4x. Problems like these will be on your test Tuesday, so please make sure you go over this along with your review worksheet F3A and F1A. They will help you to prepare for the test. Good luck.